So that's like 5 minutes of time now that we've just wasted. Like the start of every podcast. You're just.
That's my idea of partying, John. That's my idea of how I party. Do you like how I party? Are you intimidated by how I party, Jonathan?
I don't like how you party at all.
Really?
In fact, I have zero desire to go to a party with you.
Do you hear music in the background of my microphone?
Because I couldn't drink with the women that you party with. Because they are not of age.
I asked you, can you hear music in the background?
Because you like 16-year-olds.
You're not even listening to what I'm saying. Do you hear music in the background?
Pedophile.
Do you know what that music is?
Oh, I haven't heard anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't hear any music?
No, I hear nothing.
I can't...
Nope, I don't hear anything.
I feel like you're not serious.
Do you know a man by the name of Chris Hansen?
From Dateline? How to Catch a Predator? Yeah, he and I are buds. I started on like 3 episodes. As a police officer.
I don't think that's a show you star in.
I don't think you're a show you star in. Do you literally, seriously not hear music in the background? Mellifluous music?
It's really fucking loud. It's been going on for a long time.
Well, good. Well, that's good because it's the music for Super Smash Brothers 3DS. And that's what we're talking about on this episode of Unqualified Gamers. How's that for an intro? It
was a good intro. Nothing but throat. Your throat is beautiful, let me tell you. It's probably the most attractive part of your body. Certainly on the top half of your body.
I may literally have the music, the menu music, just playing in the background. Ad hominem, ad hoc.
No, ad hominem is correct.
Ad hoc, ad infinitum, veni vidi vici. If I had a dollar bill, I would read whatever Latin is on that.
Hey, what was that term that they used in that episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark to make magic happen?
Literally no idea what you're talking about.
No, this is super important.
Is it?
Let's take the next 15 minutes to discuss that.
I will say
how good of a show Are You Afraid of the Dark was.
I will. First of all, I think I threw off the calibration of my microphone because now it's not really picking me up, which maybe it's doing on purpose. Maybe it was like, I'm kind of over Cody talking. And
really, it's better this way.
Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I gotta turn it up. Turn it up. That doesn't work. I will say this is the slowest, most drawn-out introduction to an episode we've ever done, but I really wanted to play loud. I wanted to play the music from the menu.
Use your words.
Smash Brothers, Nintendo for 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you were very clear about that.
Yeah.
Just
now. I'm Cody Gough, and this is Jonathan Martin, and welcome to episode 85 of Unqualified Gamers. A television program where two men with no thing to talk about do it with verbally on the internet.
Look, that was eloquent, concise, to the point. I have nothing to add.
Are you saying you didn't drink as much coffee as I did this morning? Because that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from you right now.
If you drank coffee this morning, there's no way that would still be affecting you tonight.
You don't know that? What are you, a pharmacist?
I am. And there's no way that it would be affecting you tonight.
Well, it is.
That's probably the cocaine that you did.
Oh, no, you know what it is?
Which would be affecting you tonight.
You know what it is that's affecting me? It's the Smash Brothers Wars demo that I got the day it came out because our friend Guy gave me an early bird code because he's awesome, and it's the demo version, and I'm really excited on Nintendo 3DS. Do you know when Smash Brothers Brawl came out, I got a copy at the midnight release and then played it for literally, I believe it was 13 hours. I'm not sure. I know I played until 7 a.m. with my old roommate John and our friend Max. Then they slept, and then when Max woke up, I was in the exact same position that I was in when he fell asleep, which was around 11 o'clock, and then I believe we played for another few hours. That is how much I like Smash Brothers.
Right. You have been on the record previously as saying that this is your favorite franchise. This is your favorite game, right?
Pretty much.
So we're going to get nothing but an objective, unbiased view from you of Smash Brothers. Is that pretty accurate? Pretty fair.
Yeah, totally objective, unbiased. Definitely no hype. No hype here.
Right.
There's no hype.
Yeah, no, I can totally tell that.
Obviously.
I'm glad you have the ability to do that.
Well, okay, so here at Unqualified Gamers, so kind of our MO, other than not really knowing what we're talking about, is that we do like things.
Yeah, no, so we genuinely love video games, right?
We do, in general, right?
And so occasionally we'll talk about things from the perspective of somebody who is not objective. Because we love the things we're talking about. Sometimes.
Though it should be noted occasionally, it should be noted. I think overall we do look at some things that we like a lot from a somewhat objective point of view.
I mean, I certainly try my best to kind of take a step back in some things that I am incredibly passionate about. I do.
Right. And if you recall, I loved Ninja Gaiden for Xbox, and I loved Ninja Gaiden 2 for Xbox 360. And when I got Ninja Gaiden 3, I literally...
You loved it. It was your favorite game.
No, you are a liar, is what you are. You are a damn dirty liar, and that's offensive.
It's more that I don't remember what you said any of the episodes we've ever done.
Not only did I not complete the game, I returned the game to GameStop after 3 days. Because I hated it so much. And I was very excited about that game. So it happens. And, listener, if you want to go back and check out my Ninja Gaiden 3 review, just go to unqualifiedgamers.com and search for it. A lot of people liked it. I remember the last time we mentioned Ninja Gaiden 3 on an episode of this podcast, someone in the comments was like, oh, I like that game. It's, whatever, to each his own, but I personally just hated it. But what I'm saying is... Sometimes you get hyped for stuff, and you're allowed to be disappointed. I'm allowed, when I picked up Smash Brothers, I thought to myself, this could be terrible. It wasn't.
I don't think you did. I don't think you did.
Well, okay,
I don't think you ever actually had that thought, but that's fine.
It's Nintendo. Nintendo does not screw up royally often.
That's true.
So there's that, but
If anything, the biggest complaint you can have about Nintendo, if it's a game that is not maybe the most interesting, is that it's mediocre, right? I mean, I don't think they very rarely. I think they very rarely make bad games when it's a Nintendo licensed product.
It's very true. It's very true. Anyway, I'm putting this episode's all over the place. This is not normal.
You put the cart before all of things. All of it. The cart is out there.
Yeah, I mean, usually we start slowly. We talk about how you worked all weekend, because that's literally all you do. And then we talk about how I did something awesome like party with 18-year-olds, which is literally all that I do. And then we talk about video games for like a half hour. And yeah, that's our usual format. Instead, today we eschewed that for a 5-minute intro of music, which was your idea, completely your idea. And then I just started talking about Smash Brothers, and now we're done. Are we done? That's it. I guess that's a wrap.
We did say it was going to be an abbreviated episode, though, before we started.
What was that? Why don't we take a step back? Why don't we do what you do when you play video games? We'll take a step back.
Okay.
Tell me words.
So I'm assuming that actually means what did you do this weekend? And so what I did this weekend uh, also involves water. Uh, that's the biggest hint you get. What happened?
Did you urinate into a pool of blood as part of a ritual?
So there was a ritual involved. We baptized my son. So
Congratulations.
thank you. So we did that, and it was really cool because my sister-in-law is a pastor, and she's a pastor of a church, and she's also the godmother. So she actually did the baptism, which was really cool.
I thought I saw that on the Facebook. Good for all of you. That's especially meaningful when like a family member does that.
Yeah, it was. And my family was in town from Illinois. Um, and so that like my weekend was just packed full of family stuff. We just kind of hung out the whole time. Um, and it was really nice. It was really good to see everybody, but yeah, obviously that took up my whole weekend.
Yeah, that was a lot. But hey, you did something with your life,
Something of what I would consider significance.
something other than work for 36 hours like you do every other weekend. And then you say, I worked, and I played Diablo 3 and Hearthstone, because
I
all I do is play Blizzard games all day, all the time.
didn't play. No, I did play some Diablo 3. That's true.
Yeah, you damn
Of
right you
course,
did.
of course I did.
Uh,
Yeah, but it actually wasn't nearly as much as I normally do.
well,
But yeah, the baptism went off without a hitch. Ate a lot of ridiculously good food because that's what you do when you get together with family. We did a dessert bar rather than like. So, my family from Illinois that came in had to travel back, and I also had my brother coming in from California, and so they had to travel back on Sunday. And like the traditional thing is you do the baptism in the morning, and then at least the baptisms that I have gone to, um, you then go to like a brunch afterwards. That's very common. But we
yeah,
didn't we
yeah.
didn't want to hold family after the brunch because we knew that, the drive back to Illinois is 7 hours. Uh, and the trip back to California is quite long as well. And so we were like, well, we're going to do something the night before. So we did a dessert bar, and my wife set up the whole thing. She did a fantastic job. And we had, when she plans stuff, um, the only criticism I could ever have is that she may go a bit overboard with the planning process. So she had all these desserts planned out, and we had like 30 people coming, and that's great. That's a huge number of people, and like it's hard to determine just how much dessert 30 people can eat, right? Like it's not like food. It's not like everybody's gonna get like when you have food like a dinner, everybody's gonna at least get like a plate of dinner, right?
Right.
They might eat different stuff, but people are coming with the intention of eating dinner. But when you do a dessert bar, I don't think you can assume that people are going to come and eat the dessert, even though they know it's a dessert bar. At least that's just the perception I have in my head. I I I think that some people just show up to do like the camaraderie thing, maybe have a couple drinks, have a couple glasses of wine, maybe have some coffee, that kind of thing, and like sit around and chat. I think there are some people that would do that and then maybe not have dessert, right? So we had like 30 people, and we had the a sheet cake, and we had a cookie cake, and then we got this giant cake from Costco, right? So now we've got three desserts already that we have brought. These are large cakes that we have. Um, and initially I was like, that's probably enough because that Costco cake, I've had this Costco cake before. That cake from Costco can easily feed 15 to 20 people by itself, right? So we get all these cakes, and I'm like, babe, I really think we're done. She's like, okay, okay, but other people are going to be bringing stuff too. And I was like, really? So we've got these three cakes, and then somebody brings like 80 chocolate covered strawberries, like 80 of them. Um, and then there's like one other dessert that somebody brings too, like almond bark or something with almonds in it. And there was a giant bowl of M&Ms. Um, and there was sea salt chocolate-covered caramels, like 100 of those. So that was all awesome, and it's like, man, this dessert is sweet. I'm just gonna eat a bunch of this dessert, and I certainly did, and some other people did. However, when all was said and done, we had 3/4 of a Costco cake left. We had 9/10 of a sheet cake left. We had half a cookie cake. We had about 50 chocolate covered strawberries. We had 75 of the 80 chocolate color covered caramels. Um, the only thing that was gone was the Target store-bought almond bark with almonds in it, the chocolate bark with almonds in it. That was the only thing that was gone completely. Everything else, there was a crazy amount of leftovers. So, we touted those back home because we were doing this at my mother-in-law's house. And for the next 3 days, I basically gorged myself on cake. Cake, listener, if you're wondering, it is my kryptonite in terms of dessert.
Wait, really?
It really is. I could probably do without any desserts. I really could. But cake will get me every time. So, and I'm like the frosting and the cake guy. It's not just the cake and it's not just the frosting. It's the heavenly combination of the two that truly gets to me. So over the next 3 days, I gorged myself on cake, and I have not felt well for those 4 days. Just in general, I have just not felt good.
And you're sure you didn't just make up that love for cake that you mentioned? Because that would mean that the cake was
false, not true.
Yeah, that would mean that the cake was false.
Right.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. So that was that, and so I think we learned our lesson. If we were to host another dessert bar, maybe pare it back a little bit. Maybe have a not sweet dessert like cake. Like maybe put a lemon tart. Or
Ooh, lemon tart.
Or a key lime pie. Something maybe more, the less sweetness.
Key lime pie may be my favorite pie, and that's sweeter than cake.
Is it?
Yeah.
I always thought it was kind of tart.
I guess,
maybe
yeah,
a lemon tort. Maybe
a lemon tort?
Yes, sure. Maybe a lemon tort.
What if it's a tort cake? Can you do a tart cake or a tort cake? Can you do that?
I don't think that exists.
Okay. So I guess you could say that the cake I just mentioned was a
was
a falsehood.
It was a falsehood. That's
cake
correct.
Was a falsehood.
So what was your weekend like? How much dessert did you eat? None, because of the diabetes.
None happened. I literally don't remember what I did. Our friend.
You know how many episodes you've come to where you've said, "I don't remember what happened this weekend."
Yeah, well, I'm always drinking with 20-year-olds.
You're drinking 40s, is what you're saying.
With that hand, was drinking with No, our friend Blake had a barbecue on Saturday.
Nice.
And it was very fun. Actually, Friday, my neighbor came over. My neighbor Stacy came over and played Mario Kart while I stole her Pokemon. This was exciting for me.
Stole them?
Yes, all of them. She was texting me. So I'm friends with one of my neighbors, and she's texting me. She wanted to start a new game in Pokemon, and I was like, "Well, wait, which one do you have?" And she has Pokemon X. And I said, "Well, do you have Xerneas?" And she's like, "Yeah, I have the legendary Pokemon because you get it during the game." I was like, "All right, you are not starting a new game until I get your Xerneas." So I had her come over. I sat on the couch, just trading her Pokemon with myself for an hour while she played Mario Kart. And then we played Mario Kart. It was the best thing ever. So now I have a Xerneas and several other Pokemon I didn't have before.
Oh, good. Well, that's productive.
So I'm back on collecting because if you remember from 9 months ago, I went on a Pokemon hiatus to play Bravely Default, which took me 6 months.
Which took you 9 months, that's right.
Yeah, so there's that. Then I got the Smash Brothers demo, so I've actually not, other than trading, I haven't started playing Pokemon again, but I will soon. I'd like to catch more, if not all, of them. You could say I want to catch them entirely.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to say that. So, So that happened Friday. Our friend Blake had a barbecue Saturday, so I got to grill out. Even though the temperature has dropped in the Midwest substantially, and winter is apparently here. What is going on with this?
This is actually my favorite kind of weather, though. Like, I love being outside, long sleeve shirt and long pants in this kind of weather. I absolutely love it.
I do as well. The wind has been a pain in the ass in Chicago, though, for a little bit, though, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's
But
the city that blows a lot,
it
right?
is the city that blows a lot, yeah. So there's that. But probably the highlight of my like quote unquote weekend was Monday. I went to trivia. So I'm so a friend of mine put together a trivia team in Wicker Park. Wicker Park is a few miles south of me. It's like an 18-minute bus ride from
When
me.
you say put together a trivia team, are we talking like hardcore? Like, I think of bar trivia as like whoever shows up plays.
So you've never been to bar trivia where one person's just way too into it?
I mean, I've been to bar trivia where one person's really good and kind of carries the team, but not in a way that is awkward. Like,
Okay,
not.
no, you're wrong. So I used to go to bar trivia for about a year when I lived with Russian John, who's been on our podcast before.
I can see him being pretty serious.
He was militant. He'd be like, wait, is this the right answer? He was like a perfectionist about it. He was annoying. I hated it. And I hope you're listening, Russian John, from your communist country right now. But uh, this friend of mine is also similarly, and she may be listening as well. I have nothing bad to say about her, but she is militant about it. I remember specifically, so like the scorekeeper, the trivia master, he sits in this like balcony up above everyone at this bar. It's a weird setup. It's a big bar, and it's just completely empty every Monday because no one's there for trivia. But this guy sits like atop a balcony by like where the DJ would normally sit, and he at the end of each round he types in an Excel spreadsheet everybody's points, and then he puts them up on the screen. And we got shortchanged like literally 2 points, right? And my friend and her other friend that go with her, she turns around and she yells, "That's bullshit!" like angrily at the guy. She'll verify this. She's not shy about it. So she's like, that's fucking bullshit. That's like not fair, cool at all, or whatever. And just like basically just starts yelling at him, and I'm just like, dude, be nice to the trivia guy. This is not necessary. To be fair, we get first or second every week, but yes, there is a team put together in that way. So
Well, did you lose by 1 point? Because that 2 points could matter.
we lost a tiebreaker one time, but I won't get into that. But anyway, so Monday I've been going to trivia with these two girls I know, and then our friend Blake and his wife usually go, and a couple other kind of regulars. There's like 7 or 8 of us. This week, my two friends, and part of the reason they picked this bar is because it's in Wicker Park where they live. It's a 20-minute bus ride for me, so kind of a pain, but the bus is right outside my place. It's fine. Well, this week they couldn't make it, so I told Blake, I was like, hey, if you're free, why don't you come up my way? There is a bar literally 5 doors down from me. It's at the end of my block. If I stood outside my apartment and looked, I could see it. It's very, very close. So there's a bar right there that does bar trivia Mondays. I'd never done it. So I said, hey, come on my way and we'll do it. And he's like, all right. Well, anyway, my neighbor ended up showing up, and Blake popped by later, but only like 3 or 4 of us ended up showing up, which was fine. Much smaller team than usual. But at the end of for this bar trivia, at the end of each round, they declare a winner. And the winner of each round, the winning team, everyone gets a free shot. So we won like the second and third rounds.
Nice.
So it's a Monday night, and their special is $10 for any burger on their menu plus any beer on their menu. So I just dropped $10 and I got a burger, which is fine, and I had a beer, and I'm a lightweight, right? Like, a beer is basically going to get me buzzed practically as it is. Then suddenly I had 2 shots of Fireball on my system, because of course they give you Fireball.
Is everybody drinking Fireball now? Everybody shoots Fireball, don't they?
Everyone drinks Fireball.
Yeah, everybody shoots Fireball.
So that happened. And then at the end of the night, we got second place. So at this bar, first place gets like $50 off their tab. Second place, gets a round of shots. And
Nice.
there was a girl on our team who didn't want her shot, so it apparently fell to me to do this shot.
It was good that you stepped up and you took that for the team.
Yeah, so I basically got trashed Monday night at trivia, and I will be going back to that trivia on next week.
You got accidentally drunk.
Yeah.
It's like that Counting Crows song, "Accidentally in Love."
Is that a Counting Crows song?
It's a song from Shrek.
All right, I believe you.
Crows.
But that was interesting. I had never been to bar trivia where they award you with alcohol, although I've heard of that happening.
Yeah, that seems like the way to go. It's something they're serving anyway.
It was cheap. The rounds went very quickly. The other trivia is great, and I do like my friends. The one does take it really seriously, but like that's okay. I mean, we always win and we get money off our tab, so I'm not complaining. And she's fun, and I like hanging out with her, obviously. So I'm not like trash talking, but she does take it very seriously, and did really scare me one time when she was screaming at the guy running it. But that was kind of an interesting thing. So beware, listener, if you go to bar trivia, find out what those prizes are before you go, because
you may not want them.
Yeah.
So let's talk shop.
You mean video games?
It's shop.
What's that? What does that mean?
Shop class.
I understand.
Video game shop class.
I understand.
So you and I both.
Oh wait.
Had the.
Do I know what you're referring to? Are you possibly referring to?
We both had the good fortune.
Yes.
We both had that's going to play really well on our audio remastered podcast.
Our audio listeners love hearing us talk about YouTube. They can hear this.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
Okay. So, we both had the good fortune to get the Super Smash Bros. Demo for the 3DS, which is coming out to everybody this Friday. We're recording today on Wednesday. It's probably going to be posted on Thursday. Everybody can get the demo on Friday. This came out about, 4 days ago?
I don't have any idea,
Something
literally.
like that. It was like 4 days ago. They released the demo early to some Nintendo Platinum members, I think, and they gave everybody 4 codes. That was a Platinum member.
Correct.
So you and I each got a download code from a friend, which is great.
Our friend Guy, who did guest host an episode of the podcast at one point in time. So thank you so much, Guy. Publicly thanking you for that.
And I have played about, I want to say probably about 2 to 3 hours of it so far. Of just the demo. And listener, the demo is 5 playable characters, 6 playable characters?
5. Mario, Link, Pikachu, Mega Man, and Villager. 5
playable characters and 1 map. And every match is 2 minutes long, and only 2 minutes long. And that's it. That's the whole demo. And I've probably played it, for about 2 hours-ish total, messing around with those 5 different characters. I'm assuming you probably have a similar play time, if not maybe more.
Couple hours, yeah. Couple hours sounds about right.
Yeah. So what are your impressions of it?
It's really fun. I don't know. The music is awesome. Everything about it is awesome. It's perfect. It's the perfect game. Nothing is wrong with it. That's my objective opinion.
Right. Okay. That's great. You really sold me on the game. That's perfect.
No, so the demo is very limited. The purpose of a demo is to get people excited about your product and want the game, right? Is that fair to say?
I don't know if that's necessarily true every single time. I think the demo. I think demos can also be to explain your game if somebody doesn't know anything about it. I think probably first and foremost they are trying to get you excited for the game, yes, to give you a flavor of it. But I think what they really try to do, what developers try to do with demos is, and the goal of a demo is to give you a large enough cross section so that you know enough about the product to where you can make an informed decision if you're going to buy it.
Well, I think this accomplishes that. either way you look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that you and I have both walked away from this with differing opinions as to kind of like as to our course of action.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think as a demo, it absolutely serves a great purpose.
I guess I just mentioned that because in terms of what you can do, you're right. It's pretty limited in terms of. I mean, there's one stage. Well, there's one stage, and then there's the like Omega version of the stage, or the like. You know how the online modes are going to be split into like for fun and for glory modes.
Right.
I feel like there's a for fun and a for glory version of Final Destination. The for fun mode, it drops items and there's a couple platforms. For glory is literally just a flat stage, no items.
Right.
So you've got the variations. So competitive smashers that want to try out this game and not have items, they have that available. And then the people like me that just like 4-player 5-minute bonus point matches from Smash Brothers Melee, which they took out of Brawl, by the way, which is lame. But people like me that like to just like dick around and throw beam swords at each other, like and win every time, which is what I do. Yeah, that's there as well. And also you can change who you're fighting. You can change the CPU. You can have up to 4 players. You can do one-on-one matches with the CPU. You can do triple threat matches. You can have 4-person free-for-alls. So you can set that, and you can set their difficulty level from 1 through 9. Right. So there is some customizability there. I was doing 3-person matches at first just to simplify. I've been doing 4-person matches and actually losing them consistently. Link wins every time, which is odd to me, but maybe he just has the best smashes, like most powerful smashes. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or I'm not very good at it. Either way, it's a thing that I'm not winning all the time. But so there's some options in there, and you are able to play local wireless if there are other people with a demo nearby. So you can even test the multiplayer capabilities.
Right, which is a very cool feature that they put in there. I'm very glad that they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listener, so we didn't explain anything at all about the game. We just assumed that you knew about it. So if you don't know what Smash Brothers is, incredibly briefly, it is this big arena battle game. You could consider it a fighting game, I would think. I think you could call it that. There's some debate about that, but I'm pretty sure you can call it a fighting game that houses up to 4 characters at a time that span across all Nintendo franchises, and more recently, with the more recent games, have expanded out into other third parties. And it's basically just taking characters from all of your favorite franchises and fighting them with each other, and they all have different move sets.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's what Smash Brothers is. So this demo came out for Smash Brothers, the 4th iteration of it, which is coming out for the Wii U probably sometime in November, but that hasn't been announced yet.
The release date, you mean?
Correct.
Yeah. So they were going to release the 3DS version and the Wii U version in tandem. Well, I don't know if I used that phrase correctly, but they're not being released at the same time. Yeah, 3DS version comes out next month in October. Wii U version TBD. And this has whet my appetite. I am ravenous for more. Having put over an hour, possibly 2 hours, into one level with one of 5 playable characters, without even being able to select that many options, customize items, do anything else in the game, I am chomping at the bit to get this game. And let me talk about the hype a little bit. So the hype for Smash Brothers has been pretty substantial, right? Like Nintendo every month or every several weeks or whatever will release new characters and new stages and things like that, or every couple months. And
I mean, they'll release a video to release the announcement of a new character.
Yeah, promo videos. I mean, they know people are excited about Smash Brothers. They know it is. One of their I almost said their most popular franchise. It might be.
Yeah, at this point it might be.
I mean, honestly, I think in terms of sales, maybe Mario.
I think Mario Kart might actually beat it in sales, to be honest.
And Mario Kart, yeah, but the amount
it appeals to a much larger audience.
Yes, but I think that the fanatical nature of Smash Brothers fans, such as myself, like I think that is greater than any other franchise they have, except maybe Zelda. But you don't see people freaking out over the next Donkey Kong game and the next like Pikmin game. You know, people are
That's
excited, but
yeah, that's true.
yeah, but they build this up, right? I have actually somewhat removed myself from some of the hype train, as they've called it. Like, I missed a couple of the character announcements. I didn't even know about the new Fire Emblem characters until you told me about it, John. So, like, not because I'm not excited about the game, but there's a part of me that I don't like to get too excited about something and then have to wait for it. Does that make sense?
No.
Like, I don't want to see, oh, look at this awesome thing I don't get to do for 9 months. Oh, look at this awesome thing I don't get to do for 7 months.
But
Oh,
that's their whole MO with them hyping you up by gradually introducing information about the game. I mean,
I know, it
they
works, and
want
it's fine, it's good, but for me, as a human, as me, Cody, my thing has been I've been like, I check all the announcements when I know they're there, but I'm not like, I haven't looked at the leaked character roster. I haven't like, I'm trying to kind of stay hands off and not have it top of mind, because if I do, then like I'm just gonna think about it too much. Maybe I'm weird.
okay, I guess. I don't think I get it, but
You think I'm
okay.
weird?
I do.
I'm just saying.
But I've always thought that about you.
I'm saying, and this has nothing to do with Nintendo. I'm just telling this to illustrate my next point. All I'm saying is, like, yeah, Nintendo's doing all this stuff, and it's great, and it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are getting very hyped. I've been trying to kind of, like, not get too caught up in the hype. I'm trying not to, like, post about Smash Bros. Every day, because it's just going to give me blue balls. I'm just going to get very, very, like, I'm just going to yearn for this game more and more, and I don't want to do that. I just want to, like, be like, like, when I back a game on Kickstarter, I don't want to get any updates. I don't want to get any updates. I don't want to know what's going on with development. I don't want to be reminded that I backed it. I just want to drop 20 to 30 to 40 bucks on Kickstarter, and then 9 months later, I have totally forgotten about something, and then suddenly a video game magically appears on my lap. That's my MO.
Okay, that's weird.
That's how I operate. I just don't. That's what I want.
Okay.
I want. Don't tell me about it. Just give me the signed, sealed, delivered, finished thing. Same with like Marvel movie announcements and Star Wars and stuff. Like, I have not even like put a modicum of attention into Star Wars Episode 7 because like I don't care. I want it to be out.
Okay.
I just want to get there. Like, when it comes out, like when some trailers come out, I'll watch the trailer like 8 times and I'll be like, all right, cool. See you in a month or two, and it'll be good. But like until then, I'm not gonna like read about like, oh, Harrison Ford on the set and like, oh, the Millennium Falcon scale modeling. Like, I see that stuff and I'm like, okay, I get it. That's cool. But like, this is a thing that I'm not gonna get to actually experience for several months. So I'm not. I don't want it. I don't want it here. I don't want it rolling around in my head. That's just how I work.
Okay. I'm with you. I've actually been with you for this entire 8-minute explanation.
Well, you still think I'm weird.
Yeah, I do, but it doesn't matter. I've been with you. I've been understanding you for this whole time.
Anyway, this is all to illustrate the point that I've not been like obsessing over Smash Brothers and following every little development. But now that this demo is in my hand, it changed everything, and it accomplished exactly what following every single update like to the minute would have done in the first place. It just got me like unrealistically excited. And I watched. I remember we talked about it. I watched the first ever Smash Brothers Invitational at E3. Was it E3?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, at E3. Like, I watched that, and that did get me really excited, and it was cool to see things hands on. But it just like, I don't know. It's different than having the game hands on. That did get me pretty excited, but that almost gave me my fix. Because when you watch a video game, that's cathartic in a way that's like playing it in a way. This though, like, is next level stuff.
Okay. So overall, you've spent a lot of time explaining how you're about to say that you really like the demo and you think it does good things with what Smash Brothers does, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I agree with you. I think it feels like a Smash Brothers game.
That's good.
right? So I it doesn't feel that different from other Smash Brothers games. That's probably a good thing. They're not going for something different, right?
Sure.
My biggest problem is that I don't think I want to play Smash Brothers on a 3DS. And I think that by downloading this demo, that illustrated that to me. Like there's just so many things about playing it on the 3DS that I don't like. Like I don't like the way the system feels in your hand when you're trying to play a game like this. Personally, I don't like the button configuration. Like I don't like where my index fingers are for the triggers. I don't think it feels nearly as comfortable. Like my hands feel too far apart. Is kind of what it feels like.
Do you have a 3DS XL?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah. Me too.
yeah, and I might have the same feeling when I try to play it on a Wii U gamepad, but I'll have the option of playing on a GameCube controller for an extra $40, whatever it's going to cost me. Um, but like I just like it feels uncomfortable. And keep in mind, I've been playing around with it for like 2 hours, and it feels like a Smash Brothers game. There's a bunch of new items, there's a bunch of new assist trophies, and they've done some great stuff with that. They haven't changed anything about it at all, and that's fine because I don't know if Smash Brothers it's kind of got a standard formula, right? And it's not really something you can mess with too much because the core of the game is in the gameplay, and you can't screw with that too much and still maintain like the heart of the game. Um, but like I said, I just don't feel comfortable with the like playing it on the 3DS. I don't feel like I get the response that I'm looking for when I'm playing on that system. And my biggest gripe about the whole thing is that even with the 3DS XL screen, it is still too small for me. I still have to focus too hard. I mean, it's almost straining to my eyes to play it on the 3DS with just Smash Brothers is the game, and especially in some of the smaller levels, where there's just an outrageous amount of stuff going on at the same time. And trying to focus on that on the size screen that I am using, it feels like it could honestly be tedious for my eyes. It's like tiring. So I
It's a
think,
bit busy. I mean, the game gets
yeah,
busy.
it's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I walked away from the demo like liking what I played in terms of just the way the characters moved, the way that the move sets were set up. Um, I was never like hardcore into Smash Brothers, so I don't care about things like priorities and stuff like that. I didn't pay attention to any of that. I just know that the characters like felt fun to play, like they had before, and the items were fun to screw around with, and the final Smash Balls were fun to see the five characters that I had and see their final smashes. All that was great, but I walked away from it saying I don't want to play this on a 3DS. Now, what it did do is it made me excited for the Wii U version because I'm like, man, I think I'm ready to play Smash Brothers again. I'm kind of bummed that I don't really have anybody to play it with, but we can use online multiplayer, and hopefully this one will be better than Brawl's, which was atrocious. Um, but we should be able to use online multiplayer to actually play this game together, along with anybody else across the country that wants to play it. Um, and I just the experience it is not the experience I want on the 3DS. I guess is what it boils down to for me.
Sure. I
So
think
that
that's
is what,
fair.
and that is what I learned about the game from the demo.
Wow, that was much more concise and to the point and logical than whatever I said before you.
Yeah, in fact, I don't actually know what you said. Looking back on it, I have no idea what you said.
I don't remember already.
You're just really excited for the game, and that's great. And I think they could have shit in a cup and called it Smash Brothers and given it to you to play, and you would have been cool with that. And you know what? That's totally fine. Like I understand being that hyped and passionate about specific products that you are just emotionally invested in. I totally get that. And that's totally fine. But I always liked Smash Brothers, and I liked playing it for 8 hours at a time when we were sitting around your living room and we were doing that as like a large group of people. But I was never the guy that sat around by myself and played Smash Brothers ever, ever.
And I don't think I really was either. I mean, I played, the campaigns a bit in Brawl and did a lot of the challenges. Okay, I was. I was
Yeah,
that
you
guy.
were. You were that guy, and that's totally fine. But I think that also explains why I'm like I'm not. I wasn't chomping at the bit to get this. I wasn't like jonesing injected straight into my veins style for that. Like I feel about Smash Brothers maybe a little more strongly than I feel about Zelda, but they're roughly on like the same plane for me, and that I like them, but I don't need them, right? Like I don't have a ton of those types of games in my life.
That's fair.
Um, yeah, but I like them, and I know they're going to be good, and normally I check them out, but they're not like they're not games that I buy regardless of what I hear about their quality.
That makes sense. And I do have a couple reservations about this game, or things that are getting used to. I mean, it is not as it's not as natural as the GameCube controller because I've been playing on the GameCube controller for 3 generations now. Well, no, just Melee and Brawl, right?
Yeah.
I
I
guess
mean,
Melee and Brawl, but
for me, and again, I've played this game for quite a while now, what I would consider quite a while for a demo. I still can't get the joystick to respond the way I want it to every time I press it.
oh really? I see. I think it's very responsive.
Yeah, no, I like there are times where I want to do a smash attack in the game and I instead do a tilt attack. And that happens frequently for me.
But at the same time, I am way better at Smash Brothers than you are.
That's probably true. You should be. You've played it a lot longer than me.
I have played it a lot. Uh, I don't know. I've been okay with the hardware so far. It's more the button. I mean, the button layout. Like when it comes down to it, it's a different button layout than the last
Two
several hundred.
two iterations
Not
of the
just two
game that you
iterations,
played.
but the last several hundred hours I've
Right.
played.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting used to, and I'm specifically talking about the 4 buttons instead of the GameCube buttons. Like the jumping is now mapped differently than the 2 attack buttons. So I'm getting used to it. This is not a knock on the game at all, obviously, but it is definitely a transition. And at first I was like, oh my god, I may not like be able to play this game, or maybe on the 3DS. Maybe I won't get the game on 3. It made me second guess it.
Yeah.
I've been playing the demo more specifically to get more used to the controls because I just realized it's just this shiny new coat of paint they have on Smash Brothers. I cannot live without it when it comes out. It is going to be delivered at my doorstep the day it comes out. Period. That's just how it's going to happen.
Hmm.
And and I have resigned myself to that. So now I'm trying to learn the new controls, which is a bit challenging, but overall pretty good. But the interface is good. The graphics are smooth. It does get a bit busy at times, as Smash Brothers is wont to do, even on consoles. I mean, half the time you don't know what the hell is going on in the game. When we used to play in high school, we'd be like, "Where am I?" or like, "Where are you?" If it was a team game, like things just get really crazy because there's like stuff blowing up everywhere.
Right.
That's just kind of how the game goes. The 3DS screen, makes that even a little busier sometimes too. But that's just Smash Brothers, and I don't know. I can kind of get past that. But I like the music so far. I like the graphics. I like the everything. I just I do kind of ridiculously like this game. Yeah, other than the controls being a bit of an issue. I think the 3D is really good too. I think they utilize the 3D exceptionally well. And
Yeah, I did try it with the 3D, and oh my God, like it is done well, but it adds just another layer of like stuff going on
yeah,
in the
right.
game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'm okay with it. I like it. And for me, and again, I'm a mobile on the go. Like I am a very heavy 3DS consumer. I am in an environment like Japan where it is very like many parts of Japan that is very urban. I am on trains and buses for varying periods of time, every day. That's how I get transportation. I have
Right.
not. I sold my car 7 years ago and have not owned one since. I have not owned a car in 7 years. I am in my late 20s. I have gotten everywhere via public transit. So I spend a lot of time on it. And when I'm not reading a book or playing Bravely Default, as I was for the last 9 months, I'm playing my 3DS. I'm playing something else on there. So like, this is perfect for me, and the 2-minute mode is perfect because generally on the Brown line, which is where I live off of, it's about 2 minutes between stops. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. So for me, it's like if I'm 2 stops away from home, I know I can hit start, get in and out of a match, and close my 3DS in time to get off the train. Like for me, it's this like controlled time environment that just like works out kind of perfectly for me. And so for me, that's why Smash Bros. Is going to work, because it's not the kind of game where I need an hour at a time to play, but it's also, I don't know, it's very versatile. I like the portability, the portabello.
Yeah, and like whenever I've ever played Smash Brothers, I've always wanted to consume it in larger chunks of time. And so like I don't have an appeal of sitting somewhere with my 3DS and again dealing with the problems that I've already cited for
Sure,
me,
yeah. Yeah.
and doing that for a long period of time. Like I just don't want that.
Yeah, we are different consumers. I honestly am envisioning me playing this on the train with people.
Absolutely, and that's probably what they mean for the 3DS version to be, I
Yeah,
would think.
yeah. I mean, they did it with Pokemon. I was challenged to Pokemon battles several times on the train
Right.
back when I played it. There's even an article on unqualifiedgamers.com, a little op-ed that I wrote about being approached by a girl that talked to me about trading my Eevee, and it was awesome.
Bitch.
You're the worst. So yeah, well, yeah, those are my first impressions. I really love it. I think Nintendo did great. I think that you need to download the demo. If you've not had access, then get it when it comes out. And I don't know, I'll be buying the game and reviewing it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you'll be able to get access on, from what I understand, on Friday the 19th, September 19th in North America, you'll be able to get access to the 3DS demo if you have not been one of the lucky ones to get a code yet. Like it'll be open for everybody.
Yeah, good. And thank you again, Guy, for getting John and me both download codes, because my God, because he wrote on Facebook, he was like, I got 4 download codes, and who wants the other
Oh
three?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
you and some other guy commented, and I had like a minor panic attack. I'm like, oh my God, please tell me nobody texted Guy.
So can we both agree that there's not really a lot new, at least that is shown in the demo, when compared to other Smash Brothers games?
Oh, no, I did want to mention that. So it is, how do I put this? So, top level, the controls are tighter, quote unquote, and by that I
Right.
mean not the controls necessarily, but the physics are tighter than Brawl. Brawl was described by most competitive gamers as floaty, like kind of floating characters. You kind of floated around. Your falls were very slow and things like that. This game, when I was playing as Mega Man a bit earlier, and just from some of the jumps, it's not melee tight, because melee tight might be a bit much, but it is definitely a happy medium, possibly more skewed towards melee physics. I think that
You're
this
ta you're
will.
talking like real minutia right now. I'm talking on a much more macro scale. Like
No, on a macro scale, it's 4 people that throw items in each other and you try to kill each other. I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
there's
it's.
yeah, and they've done a thing where they've added some items and they've added some assist trophies and stuff. But for the most part, like if you want something different from Smash Brothers, you're not going to get it from these games. Now that being said, if all you want is more Smash Brothers with like a new coat of paint that looks really great, like that's totally what this is.
Well, what I mean, what would you expect from any other fighting game franchise? I mean, like,
I I mean, I think that some fighting game franchises have had quite a few kind of sweeping iterations over the years. Like there are some that like reinvent themselves.
I mean, there is some stuff that kind of reinvents itself, but at the end of the day, Street Fighter is 2 dudes fighting each other.
Yeah, but they added a combo system in one of the Street Fighter games, right? Like they went from not having combos to having combos.
Yeah, and they went
Like
from
that's
not
a
having final smashes to having final smashes, and
yeah.
changing the physics is a big deal. It tightens it up. Brawl is not viewed as a competitively viable game. This, I think, will be just because of the physics alone. And I think sometimes the devil's in the details, is what I'm saying. I think they don't have to reinvent the wheel to really change the way the game is able to be consumed.
I agree. I agree.
So
And with a fighting game, which this is, I mean, like like you said, it probably behooves them not to make big changes. What I'm trying to say is like if you were not a Smash fan and you think that like this is going to give you something that the other games didn't give you, it's probably not.
that's true. That's true. I would say if you dislike Super Smash Brothers, you will probably not suddenly love it
Because
because of this game.
there were people out there that didn't like it, and that's fine.
And no, that's not fine. Those people are dumb, and you're dumb if you're one of those people.
So, listener, the views expressed by Cody on Unqualified Gamers do not necessarily represent the views of all of us here at Unqualified Gamers.
They
Uh,
really do, because Smash Brothers is awesome, and
I
I am awesome.
I agree. Smash Brothers is awesome. I disagree that you are awesome.
Well, we agree to disagree. So there's that. But we are definitely unqualified. Uh,
That we are.
we are. So there's probably stuff we're leaving out and whatnot. I actually got a tweet from the developer of Video Ball, which we reviewed on last week's podcast from BitBash.
You did talk about that.
I reviewed several indie games, and I tweeted at one of the creators of Video Ball and said, "Hey, we loved your game. Here's on the podcast." He tweeted back and said, "Virtually every detail about the game you said was wrong." And then we had a very humorous Twitter exchange. The guy
It was
was
a pretty funny exchange.
hilarious. You gotta follow him. Just look on my Twitter feed at producer Cody for that. I pulled in John's Twitter account for a bit of the conversation at the end. He's at ePlayGame. But I've been trying to make friends with lots of indie developers, and I've got like a Twitter list. You can follow the Twitter list. I called it Video Games. I don't know how you find that, but you can find it probably through my profile somehow.
Twitter list? I don't know what that is.
A Twitter list is like, let's say you
Look,
follow.
you don't need to try to. No, you don't need to try to explain it to me. It's fine.
No, it's super simple. Let's say you
Go
follow.
find the Twitter list.
Well, in case the listener wants to know, if you follow 1,000 people and 400 are video game journalists or whatever, and 400 are, let's say you're into like animal rights activism or something, you can make a list. So you've got a list, and you add these people to each list.
You're like
and then
subdividing your Twitter into two separate Twitters.
Yeah. So it's like curating your own news feeds, basically. So
Okay.
it's like in Facebook. So anyway, I have a list because I do it because I have a list called WWE because during a pay-per-view or during Monday Night Raw, I just want to see their tweets and their jokes about what's going on and then making fun of things and doing commentary. That's why I do that. And then when a big video game event breaks, I want to go to the video game Twitter feed and explore that. So I have a Twitter list called Video Games. It's under @producer_Cody, so I don't know how you find that. But anyway, yeah, some fun stuff with game developers. But if you are working on Video Ball, well, first of all, go check out Video Ball. Go just Google it. Google anything we talk about on this show that you're interested in to fact check, and if you want to learn more about it, don't like if we have played a video game and we're talking about how we felt about playing it, that's one thing. But if we're talking about like meta stuff or like overall game mechanics or things like that, like we have no idea what we're talking about generally. So just Google any of that, and the rest is just like you. So then why would you listen to this podcast? Well, it's because we're hilarious, and I'm very good at talking words and out of my mouth saying. You know what I'm saying? And John is the face. He's just here to look pretty.
Right. At one point, we were considering changing our slogan to "You no longer anymore have to read."
You don't any. We were.
Yeah.
Because yes, you
Uh,
don't anymore need to read.
anymore because that is something that you did say in one of our YouTube videos. So
I have said that. That is a thing I have said.
right.
Those are words. So, So there's that. But yeah, don't take anything we say to heart. If you're a game developer, an indie game developer, just call us out for our crap on Twitter. It's fine, but we mean you no harm. And we generally just talk about stuff we like. I've only talked about like 2 things in the last 85 episodes I really didn't like.
Yeah, because we just don't. I mean, in general, we don't have a lot of time to screw around with stuff we don't like. We generally would stop playing it. I mean,
Right,
that's kind of
except for me doing a podcast with you.
right. Except for that entire time that you played Final Fantasy 13 2 and talked about it for 45 episodes when you didn't really like it that much
No, I was talking about how I don't like
because
you,
it wasn't that great.
but I waste my time with you every week.
I wouldn't call this a waste. This is quality time we spent together.
Is it?
No, I would prefer to do anything but this. I thought this was
Literally.
something I had to do. I thought this was one of those community service things that I had to do after I got arrested.
You put this on your resume, right? Your
Uh,
acting resume? Your pharmacy acting resume?
yeah, it's actually in my my curriculum vitae fabula nova crystallis.